So here I am, about ready to put this back together. The other day, I went to turn it on or off, and I pushed the power button here, and the button launched across the room in a shower of plastic bits and springs and whatnot. I collected most of the bits, and I decided I was going to see if I could fix it. And it looks like success, knock on wood. I figured my first task was to draw what I think the mounting boss that broke off the button must have looked like. So I did that as a 3D model in Fusion 360 in hopes I could get it 3D printed, and as it turns out I could, thanks to my local high school, which hosts a job shop and a monthly community makerspace day. So this old little spark plug feeler gauge is how I was able to measure the width of this. I had made a bad guess initially, but then with this I was able to determine with a thousandth of an inch or so that it is 45 thousandths of an inch inside that fork there. I sized that crossbar to be 1.20 millimeters, which is a little bit thicker than the 1.14 measured width of that fork, so I expect it will be a nice tight fit where it's supposed to go. Here we are in my local high school's shop where they 3D printed my button boss. They also have a wonderful array of woodworking and machine tools and all sorts of stuff. And today they're having a community makerspace day. So now we're going to laser burn a jig with a center to find the center of this to drill a pilot hole. So this is the sort of thing I didn't have when I was taking shop class. Cutting out the jig. It's not immediately apparent, but this jig, which was the ingenious suggestion of Luke, the volunteer that helped me with my project, is made of two identically shaped squares of thin plywood glued together. There's a larger hole on the bottom that's not visible here that fits right over the button with a tight fit. And concentric with that hole is the smaller hole that you see on top, which will center the drill bit exactly in the center of the button. So here we have my button with the broken surface sanded flat, stuck in a purpose drilled hole in a piece of scrap wood. And the little drill bit centering jig will fit over the top of that, and everything will be clamped together and go into the drill press. The final about 1/4 inch depth. Alright, so this turned out, I think, very well, as good as I could have hoped. We got this drilled out, very well centered, well enough. This bit press fits. Probably doesn't even need any glue. It's a good fit. This bit, which flew off when we drilled this out, just happened to find it again, and it's also happens to just press fit very nicely. Right back where it was, where it belongs. So this is an interesting little mechanism, this push on, push off switch. So the slider does not latch. It just slides, except for this little lever here, which I notice I'm using my finger on the back of this to push it out. This lever, when there's pressure on it, it won't let me push the slider out. Then it's latched. Unless it goes back in while there's still pressure on the lever, then it releases. So now I see how that works. This little gizmo, I'm not sure exactly what orientation, but it goes on here. And then this goes on here. And then this will go on there. And hopefully my repair is complete. I think sure feels and looks like actual wood. Made in South Korea, was sold in 79. I looked it up. This HiFiEngine.com says it sold for $70 in 1979, and that's back when $70 was something. And they go now for about the same, I see, on eBay and whatnot. But this project was never about the monetary value of this piece. It was about the fun and the challenge and the education of the repair. And it was about saving a perfectly functional, nice piece of audio gear from the landfill. It's perfectly fine except for the broken plastic pieces. And also, I grew up listening to a lot of my formative music through this particular piece of gear, so it has some nostalgia for me. So that was not actually the first slider handle to have broken. I already fixed one of them, and I used epoxy like you see me doing now, and that seems to have worked okay. So as impressed as I am with the build quality of this and the way that it sounds, nice, clean, and the electronic design, I think the plastics they used might have not been the best. They seem to have gotten brittle over the years, but then again, so have I, so who can't complain too much, I guess.